All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Caucus?
Here.
Ms. Pasio?
Here.
Ms. Kelly?
She's excused.
Mr. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Ranieri?
Here.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Here.
Mr. Shapiro?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Bayshore?
Here.
Ms. Straley?
Here.
A public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Public Notice Act, Open Public Meetings Act, has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 5th, 2023, and two, emailed to the retrospect and courier post on January 5th, 2023. First order of business, since it's in the order, is Resolution 2352, is a resolution adopting a 3-year cooperation agreement. This is with the Community Block Grant. Would someone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'd like to make a motion to approve that.
Oh, second. All right, motion by Mr. Farrell, second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Ms. Pasio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly absent. Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
5 ayes.
That resolution is adopted. We have resolution, it's not on your agenda, but we're adding this as Resolution 2353 is the council authorizing the mayor to sign the police contract. As everyone has reviewed it, I believe everyone understands what we're doing with this contract, the importance of this with our police department. So would someone like to make a motion? Mrs. Kelly is not here this evening, but just so everyone knows, she supports this 100%, and she wanted to make sure I let everybody know that.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Ranieri, second by Mr. Shapiro. Roll call, please.
Ms. Pasio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly's absent. Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right, so I can sign the contract, guys. Now, you guys have to sign your part, and we'll all be good. All right, next order of business is Resolution 2354, which is an appointment for Michael Walters as a Walters, not Walters, I apologize, as a police officer. Would someone like to make a motion to appoint him?
I'll second that motion.
Eleanor's not here, so Mr. Lobenstein, and second by Ms. Pasio.
I'm going to jump right in.
Yes, roll call, please.
Ms. Pasio?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly's absent. Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right, the resolution is adopted. Come on up and let's swear you in. I feel bad, Ms. Kelly's not here.
Yeah, she does.
It's being videoed. She can watch it.
Oh my goodness. I forgot my oath. You know what, I'm gonna do it correctly. Give me 1 second.
I know I did it.
You just moved away. It was the first time we were all standing still.
Maria,
Yeah.
that's a negative thing.
What's that? What? Oh, no.
Either
Oh,
one.
gotcha.
I checked on the account.
I'm going to text them right now.
There's a couple of them though.
I waited till it was getting slung as soon as I picked it up.
I just sent you back into the... Yeah, it's removed. Your car, the board,
Oh, it's just a cage part.
I got one of them. You don't want to see them. You don't see them.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Station order.
I think you order one and put it away.
Well, me especially.
I know, we'll get one and then get a program. There's a,
The keys.
the remote, there's thing online.
Yeah.
I was almost having to make it, but I got it. Stand over here, sir. Okay, this is Richard Thomas, is he here? This is yours. I found yours, okay. Raise your right hand. Left hand on the Bible. Okay. What's that? I,
I,
Michael Walters,
Michael Waters,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of
of the office of
police officer
police officer
according to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will not use my office
and that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment,
nor to seek personal gain,
nor to seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the general public.
not available to the general public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. My cheat sheet. I should do that, right? There's a little break. You would have Julie out? You want to talk about him?
How are you? Do I smell like Caesar dressings?
I'm going to say it. Okay, so before I'm going to let the chief speak, you know, our tradition is obviously to welcome our newest officer to our family. Ms. Kelly's not here this evening. I was thinking about standing on a chair to over-accentuate it. She makes it very clear that myself and the members of council, that we appreciate all the work that all the borough employees do. Specifically the police department, the importance of public safety is paramount. And then, you know, so we do want to say thank you and welcome to Runnemede. And hope you have a long and prosperous career here. As for all the officers that are here this evening, the members of council, you know, tonight we also did the police contract. And I want to make it clear that, you know, I want everyone to know that myself and the members of council, we appreciate all the work that all the borough employees do. You know, our job it's a balancing act. It is, and it's very, very difficult. You know, we're balancing the importance of treating those who work for the borough fairly and compensating them fairly, and so that we provide the environment that they want to work here and that they're going to succeed here. With also the fact that we have an obligation to the people of this town to do what's right, to, you know, use the public funds as efficiently as possible. So I want to thank the chief, because without his assistance, you know, we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of things that we did in this contract to make it work, so that the officers can be compensated fairly, that we can hire new officers, and we can continue to move forward. So I just want to thank everyone for that. I want to thank the members of council for their support, so that everyone knows that they are 100%, you know, involved in this aspect, that they're reached out and they say what's important to them, and it's a reflection of what we spend money on in this borough. So thank you all, and I appreciate everything that everyone does. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
So at this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Marchese out. Oh, I thought you did one.
No, I don't want the microphone. I don't need
Oh, you don't need a microphone.
All right,
You don't need a microphone. It gets recorded on the microphone.
Yeah, usually Mrs. Kelly's up here. I just want to talk about Mike for a second. Mike comes through us through the civil service list. We're losing a quality officer, Mike Amato, 9 years experience in the police department. But Mike was a good catch for us because he's got a lot of experience, so he's going to fit in well here. Nice for taking the test and scoring good. This couldn't be possible without mayor, council, everybody up here, Shelley, Beth, working seamlessly with me every single day. It's a team, it's a family in here, and this is how we make things happen in here. So, welcome. Get to work tomorrow, you'll be ready to go. Thanks for all the support. He's in good hands here. We have a great police department. To me, the best there is. There's nobody like our police department in our town. So, and the way we interact here. So, I couldn't ask for a better group. So, welcome. Joe.
I wasn't really prepared to talk, but
Take the microphone, Jim.
I'm all right. I just want to, on behalf of the police department, I was part of the committee as far as the contract goes on behalf of the police department, and we just wanted to sincerely thank the mayor and council. Not that it was anybody's fault, but it's a long, drug-out process. A lot of our personal time goes into it, along with the mayors, and we just wanted to say thank you, and that we appreciate it. So, all of you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jim. You guys want to take some pictures before?
Sure. Yeah, if anybody wants to take pictures of them, we'll go into our media room.
You want to take a picture with Mayor Council? Come on, let's take one quick.
We got our suits on today.
We did put our suits on.
Let's go. John. Let's get a quick picture. Just with the mayor and council.
Oh, yeah, we're going to take a quick photo here.
Nick. Yeah, he's tall, he's good.
That's our new prerequisite. Yeah, no short guys.
Too late. Your grandfather did.
We're going to go into another room for now. Okay, so
Thank you, Brian. Hey, congratulations. All right.
Appreciate it.
Supposed to start in 10 minutes, right?
Hey, congratulations. Thank Good night.
Thank you.
We're going to continue with the meeting. What do we have next? All right, appointment of sustainability chair and assistant. Come on, say hello to us. Say hello.
Where? Mulligan.
This is more informal this evening, even though we're wearing our suits.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's special to me. The environment, sustainability has always been the best thing that we could attain. So thank you very much.
We've learned a lot
Thank you,
from the
Ken.
Women's Club.
Thank you. And that's another great thing.
Well, we want to be here to help support, because obviously maintaining our bronze status and possibly doing better
Yes,
to silver status would be great.
yes.
I think that the one comment I would make in your tenure is everything needs to be geared to that recertification.
Yeah.
Because this is now our third time in a row where we're scrambling at the end. And I would argue that that was very stressful.
Yes.
You know, council passing resolutions,
Yes.
you guys running around trying to get stuff together. So as you do these projects, taking photos, documentation, sign-ins, that all means something. As you remember with his last certification, they asked for all that stuff. That we did handouts, that we did educational projects with them. And then, you know, obviously our goal with the sustainability is that it turns into a project that benefits the community.
Sure.
The solar is something I think it's got to be paramount for us to try to get done.
Yes.
Some of the other, you know, the other projects throughout the town that, you know, that we can identify and get done.
There's so many actions and projects.
Yeah.
Kathy's going to do a great job.
But then they all turn into some kind of financial incentive for us.
Yes.
So, you know, those are the things that's really important. So I wish you well, whatever we can do. So your assistant is she? Is she here this
Ellen
evening?
Reese,
No?
no,
Okay.
she's probably maybe still working.
Okay, not a problem. I think the formal resolution will be at the council meeting. You're welcome to come in,
Next week.
but I think there's no objections. And we want to thank Mr. Ranieri for his time doing it.
Yes,
You know, he had all black hair when he started. And,
yes.
Well, you know, I'm gonna keep my head in the game here and there. I'm still on the green team, and I'm gonna go to at least a dozen meetings if I can to make sure everything's running smoothly, and I pass everything off and all that I've learned.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's gonna be great.
No, it's important to keep going.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
all right,
Thanks,
great.
Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Please come. Budget adoption, just so everyone knows, Ms. Straley did send out an email that the state did approve our budget. So we have our public hearing at the council meeting, and after the public meeting, we should be able to adopt, and we'll be fine, and then we just wait on the state of New Jersey before we can send out the tax bills. So as everyone knows, tax bills typically are late because we wait on the state of New Jersey before that. Someone tried to say they wanted to pay their tax bills early. That's hard because you can't estimate.
You can always make any payment you want to make,
But
and it'll just be a credit when the bills go out,
Okay.
and show them.
But the caveat is it might not be enough depending on how.
Yeah,
it goes.
yeah. it's fine.
Yeah, and I appreciate you said that, I think you might have said that to someone, or maybe it was another town that I heard it from. It's great that people want to pay their taxes early. Yeah, no.
Always take the money.
The redevelopment ordinance, just so everyone's aware, tomorrow night the planning board is reviewing what we sent to them for the redevelopment on 9th Avenue. And this includes the hotel being converted into Revive luxury apartments. Did everybody see the drawings? Did you see it the way it was going to be painted? If you didn't see it, I can send it out again. It was really sharp, the landscaping and everything that they were doing, really trying to change the building and make it look nice. If you didn't see it, it should have went out. It will probably be, well, it has to come to us still, so just in case everyone doesn't remember the process, once the planning board says that this is fine and it matches our ordinance, it comes back to us for a meeting with the developer. Council would then have to appoint the developer, our redeveloper, to do this project, for that one project, and then they would move forward. It coincides with a financial agreement, so a payment in lieu of taxes. This is an opportunity for the borough to enter into a mechanism that benefits us financially for, in this particular case, it's 30 years.
Is it called a pilot program?
It's a pilot program, yeah. So, the borough would reap 95% of the taxes that are paid, 5% goes to the county, so it would help us out. And the whole idea is the state does this to help us incentivize a redevelopment of underdeveloped properties. Simultaneously, the 9th Avenue warehouse is also on the planning board's agenda for May. They'll be coming in front of us, but they're going to get their approvals first, because the stormwater regulations, I don't believe, are coming out until January. So they're going to try to get in front of the board, get approved, and then they'll come in front of this board to get approved for the warehouse. The warehouse is a permitted use, but because it's considered a redevelopment area, since it's an empty lot, it'll come in front of us for also a pilot program. So those are two things that will help us out financially, because the only way we really bring revenue is if we raise taxes. So this is a way to bring in revenue without raising taxes. So those are the two redevelopment ordinances that are on your agenda. The bond ordinance was the, and Shelley helped me out, it was the $500,000 for buildings and grounds, and in case, I think there was something from Public Works, in case there's a pipe that needs to be replaced, in case we do have to do that, we have the funds to fix that pipe. So that'll be the public hearing and the meeting at the next meeting, at the council meeting. And then the shared service for the vehicle maintenance. This is for fire truck, it's sharing the mechanics with Gloucester Township, who have mechanics that are able to do fire trucks. There's a little details that need to be worked out. I'm hoping we'll get that information and we'll put that on for the council meeting. Other than that, we're going to go around the room, and because this is more of an informal meeting, even though we're dressed up, the caucus is more for discussion. So we'll start off with Ms. Passio. And
You really want to start off?
public events, and anything else.
You don't want to do anything else, do you?
You can do whatever you want, Ms. Passio. You're an elected official. You can do anything you want. I can keep everybody here for 4 hours.
As long as it's legal.
Okay, public events. Memorial Day, May 29th on a Monday, 12 noon. It will be at the Harry Williams. I've ordered a tent so that in case it's hot, rainy, or whatever, we'll be under a nice tent. And
Microphones.
Eleanor,
Microphones and all, we'll have the speakers and microphones.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, of course. And then Eleanor is reaching out to Bob Del Sordo. We're going to be doing a dedication. And we have Youth Mayor and Council coming up. We have to get their,
What week is that?
that will be at the June council meeting. Kids will be here. So, we'll have to get that. We just had a 5 o'clock meeting today in regards to the Love Me Pipe Jam. Kathy, I told Beth, we'll put it on the digital sign. That is for the Love Me Pipe Jam. It will be at the Harry Williams Building on May 12th from 5 to 9. And we just discussed what was going on there, about the trucks and everything. Huh? Go ahead.
Are you gonna talk about what we talked about earlier? Let's save that for a private discussion with council.
Do you want to have a closed session? Or
I would like to have a closed session.
you want to have a closed session? You can be more candid.
Well,
I would like to have a closed session.
Okay.
so
We'll do a closed
we'll
session.
take the advice of our attorney.
Okay.
Because that's who we should be taking advice
Thank
from.
you.
Fine,
But I do
23:55.
have a proposal, and I will keep that.
Yes,
An executive?
keep that under your hat for right now.
Okay.
So just let everyone know, after we do the meeting, we're going to go in closed session. We won't do any business afterwards, which basically means that we're just going to close the meeting after we're done with that session. Was there anything else?
I'm going to say progress. I don't think I can, is there anything else going on here? Let me see.
4th of July parade.
Oh, I saved that for the best. I'm getting all the string bands are contacting me now, so, and I will tell you that the string band prices have gone up tremendously, and I'm battling with the bands, and they've been good with
They
me.
should have some loyalty. We've
They
always
have,
supported them.
they do have some loyalty, I have to say.
Good.
And our seniors will be, we had our last meeting last week, and the food always goes to my house. I just don't get it, but anyway, the food goes to my house.
You're talking about for the
Because,
lunch?
yeah, well, when I call on the phone, it picks up my address. So, when I call and order the food in for the seniors, because they always get a luncheon, and the food gets delivered to my house, my husband calls me to tell me that we have food there. I say, no, bring it over to the senior center. So their last meeting will be June. And they will, in May, I'm going to be giving them, we have a drawing, $25 gift card. So we'll be getting a $25 gift card, somebody will be. So it's just an incentive to bring more people in. We've had new and younger people joining, but a lot of our seniors are deceased. And that's sad, but we're trying to move it along. Other than that, I'm going to say progress.
Thank you.
I talked to Jim
Oh,
Sunday.
did you?
He said he had trouble with his computer and
Oh.
sending it out, he's definitely doing it.
Oh, great.
Just
So
let you know.
so we will have a keyboard player at our Memorial Day.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll just go around the table. Mr. Ranieri?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Good evening, everybody. Can I have the microphone?
Joe, come on.
Appreciate that. In finance, our budget was approved by the state for adoption on May 2nd. We are required to submit our ARP report through the U.S. Treasury portal by April 30th. We've implemented a new payroll system, and the police, the court, construction, and finance have completed the required prime point transitions for the new system. We still have to get the Public Works Department involved, fire, the tax office, and we will be implementing the system Monday, May 1st, and the rest is progress.
All right, John, thank you. Thanks. Just keep going. Just keep you, Mark. We'll leave you last. Richie?
Parks and Recs,
Your microphone.
Yes, a couple things going on, basketball season trainings is going on, what, 3 days a week? Baseball season, opening day was Saturday, pretty nice, we had a good turnout. Chief and everybody was there, so it happens, Craig was there, so we had a good time. They had games all day, so it was baseball fields that looked the dark way. Girls softball has their opening day this week at 4. At their field Saturday, so if you can make it, be there. And
You said 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, yeah, they start taking pictures as a team around 3:30, but the events, and then they'll have a couple games on that time. And Public Works is the wonderful job getting the fields ready, everybody's happy with the fields. So they've been working crazy, especially on
Yeah, that's, I've heard all that too.
That's fun.
Thank you. Just hand the microphone, Craig. It records it.
Exactly.
There's not a lot, it's not even on.
It wasn't one.
Here. Here we go. Yeah, I'm just following up what Richie has talked about, as far as the fields and things like that. The Public Works did a lot of work on the senior field down there. I was on the baseball field, I was there a couple times. I went down to softball today and looked at that. Harry was saying the fields look very good, and I had to go check it out just to agree with him, and they do look excellent. Down the road, they're gonna have to do some work down there as far as taking some soil out, lowering it a little bit, but it's looking pretty good. Public Works has been out filling potholes on all the streets. If you notice on the white walking in today, the sod on the left
Looks phenomenal.
coming from the police department, that looks very nice.
Yes.
And thank you, Harry. And it just looks tremendous. I think the town's looking pretty good, and I know eventually we're going to need to repaint some of the crosswalks and signs, things like that, but I'm sure Public Works will get to that. And the rest is progress.
All right, thank you. Bob?
Thank you. Local recreation improvements. Hello. All right. Our baseball field improvements, the borough has been notified for an application. They were awarded $77,000 grant, and Bach Associates will be coordinating the engineer committee and prepare a proposal on the cost of moving forward with that project. Reconstruction of First and Second Avenue design is complete. Caucus Associates are finalizing the bid documents. Also, reconstruction of Harding and Payne Avenue design has commenced. Reconstruction of Manor Court and Bowers Avenue. Caucus Associates are coordinating project closeouts with the contractor. Also, reconstruction of Forest Avenue. Caucus Associates are coordinating project closeout with the contractor and concrete subcontractor. There's still minor punch list. And all the rest progress.
Do you want to report anything with the sewer? Do you want to say anything about, you want to do that? Sure. All right. We're going to come back to you then. All right, we'll let him do that. I'm going to leave you last. Harry, did you want to say anything this evening? Did you have anything that was important?
Just wanted to
Say anything.
We're a wonderful staff here, working with the mayor and council. The bus has been, the engine was repaired on it. We ran it yesterday, but due to the fact that we had some squeaking on it, we sent it back today to have it double checked under warranty. We're hoping to have it back first thing tomorrow morning to run the route.
That's great.
But we did get the bus back.
Great. Anything else?
Progress, everything else has been reported by.
All right.
One quick thing.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that Barrington's not had a bus?
That was our old bus.
Yeah.
was an
Right.
accident.
Barrington, Belmar, Berlin, everybody's bus, something happened within the same week.
Is it possible something that we might be from Barrington, that we can trade some services now that we have the bus back?
You gotta remember, our bus driver's part-time, so it's hard getting bus drivers, so with that, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, very good.
Harry, before we lose you, With the new Green Team leaders, can we get them a password and a username for the Jersey Sustainable before my next meeting to train them, which will be the third Monday of next month?
I mean, names, email, and
I'll get it
we'll
over.
get with you, we'll take care of it that way.
I'll get it over to you. Thank you.
Progress?
Progress.
All right, Dan, did you have anything?
Let's talk with those.
Okay,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, may I bring something up under zoning?
sure.
Mr. Farrell has it in front of him, I asked him to address it. I'll address it.
It's a caucus meeting.
Yes. Well, that's right, I have to come to. Yes, exactly. I'm requesting a change of an ordinance. I cannot, by law, you know, I'm not allowed to speak to the planning board or the zoning board by law. I think it's with our solicitor or an engineer. But we have an ordinance for private detached garages. And the ordinance basically says it has to be under 16 by 24. I've had numerous requests for garages, and every other ordinance we have works on square feet. And 16 by 24 is 384 square feet, so you can't put a 20 by 20 garage up because you're over 16 foot. So on this, the ordinance, if you pass them around the bottom, the top is where it reads, and I'm requesting that we go to no changes except making it a 400 square feet building.
Oh, you mean you don't want to have sizes at all, you just want to have...
25 foot minimum. In other words, you can have 25 by 25, but you can't have...
So 25 foot maximum, no one side can be greater than 25
Well,
feet.
you can have two sides of 25, because let's say you do an L-shaped garage.
Oh,
But
it's
you can't-
400 square feet.
But you can't go over 400 square feet.
Okay.
But a 20 by 20 garage isn't allowed, which is,
Can we just change one line of ordinance, or do we have to reintroduce the whole thing?
No, it works the same way regardless. You can change,
Okay.
you can change the entire thing or one line and it works the exact same way.
Okay.
and I can email it down to you. But I just wanted to address it. I've had people ask for garages, and
So the size is impeding,
they won't, if you're over 16 foot, you have to go to the planning board. And if you don't understand the cost to go to the planning board and what it takes you to have a building constructed that's over that size. But a 20 by 20 is not a big building. So if they did a 25, it would still be 16 by 25. So we're giving them 4 square feet or 1 foot, basically, on, you know, in the size. But somebody can't make it 20 foot wide by 20 foot wide. But you can do 25 by 25 and do L-shape where you have I think it's a 12-foot garage coming in with a back workroom. So I mean, if you have the ground, we're not changing the impervious space.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just want to, and we'll bring it down. I will, you know, if I can take it to them tomorrow, but I can only give it to the engineer and to the attorney, the adjustment.
so is 20 by 20 typical garage size?
Sure.
2 cars? Is that 20 by 20?
Sure, I have one,
Oh, 20, it's 20 by 20?
yeah,
Okay.
and it's not that big, I mean,
Yeah, if
it's
we could do
small.
first reading,
If he can dance and get it together again, it's, like I said,
Sure.
the ordinance number is just the last chapter of.
yeah.
Sounds good.
It's
Just
401.
shoot me an email, we gotta go. Oh,
I will, I'll have it out to you tonight, and.
I'm not gonna read it tonight.
I know that, you'll read it tomorrow, but I mean, I just wanted to explain to everybody, like, it's not something that's drastic, but that's, when I bought the job, when I asked for the job, I was asked if you see something that we're looking at,
Clean it up.
clean it up to make it work right.
Yeah, 400 square feet sounds...
And there's a lot of stuff, that, like I said, we cleaned up the massage parlors. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in town that is working. The only problem I do have again is I don't have any plans coming on us for redevelopment. Zoning has nothing sent to them at all, you know. And
So the way it'll work is it'll come to us first.
Okay,
So council has to first appoint them as a redeveloper. And then it'll pretty much go through the engineering department, I guess, for most of
right, but
this.
nothing's coming from.
But there might still be a zoning application that just confirms whatever the resolution is that council...
We have files that we're looking to match up when something comes in.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
So there's 2 of them, and I sent to them, you know, this evening, but hopefully, once they get appointed, you'll be made aware of them.
And I can give you a couple other updates if it's okay. Cannabis, 2 places are really moving along. They've got their list and everything certified by Mr. Bott through them. They got their permits in, they've got their sign permits in. They're pushing for the dates soon, which means you don't, everyone understands, they have to come back and get the business license yet.
So nothing's happened they're waiting?
Oh, interiors, no, everything is happening.
Oh,
Oh, John, I mean,
They're working in there?
they're moving, they're ready to go.
And then they just need a final license from us.
But the final, they can't move it. Well, what I did understand from one of the managers is the state gives them a final license to give to use. And then you give them the final business license, which is signed off by zoning,
Email sheet.
police chief, which makes, they have to meet all of what their regulations are. But the state gives them their license to operate in our town, that they met all their approvals first.
But do they have to buy their marijuana from a certain?
Anybody that's
industry or-
New Jersey, a distributor, they have a Class 1 license, which we can have, but we don't have any of them. So in other words,
They have to
surely-
buy from a New Jersey Class 1
They have to
license.
buy
We
from-
did the recreational, so.
we did a Class 5, but they have to buy from a Class 1.
In New Jersey.
Well, Class 1 sells to Class 2, Class 2 sells out to people. The Class 1s, I think it's build, Class 2,
Cultivation.
cultivation. The 2 is the packaging and stuff, and they have to buy from a manufacturer. In other words, you can't buy like alcohol except from who the state says you can buy it from. You can't buy it from the state, it has to have the state seal. So there's probably a seal somewhere on it. I've never been in the stores.
From what I understand, the company package.
Yeah, everything's prepackaged, everything's.
You don't get even to touch it.
No, you don't touch it at all, and everything like that. Both of the buildings, I've walked through, I've seen the plans, big upgrades down there. You're gonna see a cleaner building
Which one?
at 1100.
Did the exterior stuff happen?
It's coming,
It's coming.
okay, their signs, I went through them, they get the square footage. The interior is all being very modernized. Over here is being very modernized, and the parking lots. They apparently both are putting fences up to accommodate the area around, which is what Mr. Bach had asked.
Look at that face. I think there's a buffer.
He's coming.
It's a tree buffer, I think, on that side.
No, they're putting a fence on back, farther back. I know that.
Okay.
We know that.
It's permitted.
Well, that's gotta go through them.
Right.
It's not part of.
Not part of the
No,
site.
that's not part of what their site plan is.
Okay, between the people in Plaza Place.
Back, yeah, Plaza Place, because they're trying to make that look.
Okay.
You know,
You got somewhere to go?
the buildings you do know next door were sold.
No.
Yes, 3 buildings next door, the 3 apartments are sold.
Nice.
Good.
So we know that that's going to be a change. And if you haven't been on the corner, again, Bob's been out for the walk. Place in the corner is beautiful.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Marino's just put new doors in.
Nice.
So I mean, the place is clean up. And Kathy and I have some stuff to work on that just brought up to me tonight, which we're in contact every week.
Okay.
Okay, so I can speak to yous, but by law, I'm not, that's why I don't go to the zoning meetings unless I have to be sworn under oath. Yeah, I didn't
I'm
understand.
glad you took the class.
I did. I have the certifications, okay, to do the job, and it's, thank you for this from you guys. I learned a lot, and like I said, we're using it to our advantage. And like I said, you know, we'll see a lot of good business. I got people said to me, the buildings are filling up, and they are.
They're waiting for it, right?
Oh, they're coming. I don't know, what, you know.
It's good news.
So, okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you, Bernie. All right. Chief, did you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for your support. I mean, as Captain Murray back there can attest to, he was right by my side when we rebuilt the police department. We have a special group of men and women back there. So, Shelley, thank you for crunching the numbers and making it work. Mayor, council, thank you for your support. You guys supported me since day one. I did this job. So it goes a long way with our police department. We really have a special group back here. Thank you.
Thanks. Shelley, did you have anything? No? Okay. And then we're going to go to Mark.
Mr. Mayor, I submitted my report in writing. Bob covered a lot of it, so I appreciate that, Bob. Thanks to emails from me. A couple things that I do want to go over. The 2023 open space application, we're working on that. It's due May 1st. We do need a supporting resolution, which should be on next week's agenda, hopefully. That can be submitted after the fact, so it's not, doesn't have to be done tonight. I sent Beth the sample resolution to use for that. And last month we talked about putting in for the 6th Avenue Park. Trying to get another round of funding. Flood damage prevention ordinance, I worked with Dan's office, and they submitted the draft ordinance to DEP prior to the April 17th deadline. So as soon as we had comments back from them and their approval, that should be on your agenda for a first and second reading. According to their schedule, they should be done by July 17th, so hopefully we can get that into your schedule. And then, we already talked about. And then the sewer extension project on Davis Road, we have finally, Mr. Kelly is here.
Yes.
What do you call her?
Finally got DEP approval to go out to bid. It's going to be advertised in the paper on Friday, May 5th. The bid opening is going to be Wednesday, May 31st. And then hopefully it gets awarded at your June 7th. That should be
Tuesday.
That's your.
Oh, it's after the election, correct?
Yeah,
So that should be June 7th.
June,
And then.
June 7th or 8th? 8th is our meeting, I think. 7th is the election.
Yeah, 7th is the election.
The winner.
Yeah, so June 8th, right?
And one thing not in the report.
Nope, 7th.
It is the 7th?
Wednesday the 7th.
Oh, geez. Gee, election day is the 6th.
Election day's the 6th. You've been a day late.
You too. You too.
Not in my report is the mayor had asked us for an updated cost estimate to put the addition on the Harry Wheels building for ADA bathrooms and its concession area. We sent that in today. I assume you're looking to get.
I didn't see it, but that's that CDBG that we did this evening, the 3-year. When towns don't spend the money, if you remember, there's an opportunity there for us. The only issue that might come up is sometimes they want shovel-ready. And so your proposal is not necessarily shovel-ready. So the question we have to do is at some point decide, do we want to, if we know we want to do this project, do we want to invest in the drawings? At least get drawings close enough so that we can do it. So we'll look at your proposal and look at it and just maybe put it in the pipeline. The only reason is the last, like I said, the last CDBG meeting I went to, there was over $1 million that was not spent. My problem is the cost estimates have gone up exponentially for anything to do. So the original cost is almost 50% more than what it was proposed to us when we first looked at this, 4 or 5 years ago. Right?
Yes. That's it. Unless anybody has any questions.
That's it. Okay. Since Ms. Kelly is not here, I do want to talk about this EMS issue. So, cases when anyone isn't remembering, is on May 5th, we're losing our firefighter EMT, and I can say his name, right, because he was leaving?
Yeah.
Mr. Wolf is transferring to Choose Fire. So what that's going to do is going to hurt us in 2 ways. One, he was able to get on the fire truck and do everything that a fireman can do, and he also was able to do, it was an EMS, and he could do anything that he needed for the ambulance. So we did have some difficulty finding people. If we raise our salaries, we might be able to, we can hire somebody to fill the position, but what it does is it only provides an EMS. So Ms. Kelly, I think, had a meeting. Were you part of that meeting? Was Patty part of it, or?
Separately.
Separately. So the committee has spoken a little bit about it. Since Elder's not here this evening, I will at least make it clear that we've got to come up with a plan. And so far, the proposal on the table that seems to make the most sense is well, that's 2 separate things. So, well, I'll do that first. So the idea is that we need firefighters. So the volunteers can work for us, but we can't pay them. So we can only basically give them something in recognition of them helping us. So if they came in and covered a shift that was not being covered by our full-time staff, we can reward them, acknowledge them with an amount of money that would basically a percentage, but also to cover any of their costs and things like that. So we can come up with an amount of money that we feel would be awarding them for their service to us, but it would be volunteers. And the reason we're doing this is because we're not necessarily, they're volunteers, and we don't want to lose their volunteer status. So the police chief and the assistant chief have shown us where we would be. Fire chief showed us, if you want to look at this briefly, these would be the days when someone's not on there, like when some of our other employees are on vacation, if they take a sick day, a personal day, or if, for some reason they're not able to work, that would be the times we would bring somebody in. and things like that. So we would have a group of individuals, our volunteers, that we could fill in if we could schedule it, or if, you know, someone didn't show up, we could call them in. That's one half of it. That would cover the fire side. So the fire side, we would bring in our volunteers to cover. On the EMS side, even if we hire a full-time individual, they wouldn't be able to do any fire services and things like that, and we would still run into situations where we would be shorthanded and stuff like that. So it's leading us into the inevitability of sharing services and working with our neighbors. The proposal that was given to us from Barrington was that Runnemede would continue to provide the service, but we would provide the vehicles, the equipment, the billing service and all that, but the employees that we would be short, they would cover us. So for example, this individual that wouldn't be there for 40 hours, they would give us 40 hours worth of employees. If one of our employees was to call out sick, they would give us an employee to cover when that employee called out sick. If we deemed that we needed an EMT. This also would lead to what we've talked about with a power shift, if there's times when we need more ambulances. So the idea is, you know, we have two vehicles, they have 4 vehicles, they have more labor than we have. Ours are all full-time employees. Our part-time staff has not been, and there's only been in use minimally during the year when the chief has been able to get them to, you know, do one-off jobs. So the proposal would be, you know, we would split the revenue side. So there would be, because they wouldn't be our employees. The employee would come and work in Runnemede, and we would just split the revenue. Am I saying this correctly? So the proposal is we would split any revenue that was generated when a Barrington EMT was on our property. So if that Barrington EMT went out on a call, it would be a 70-30 split, 70% going to the Borough of Runnemede, 30% going to cover that employee. We average anywhere from 1 to 2 calls in a shift, so it should compensate. I believe that's where the number came from to kind of cover. I mean, they can't lose money either. They've got to cover. So it would be actually pretty simple because, you know, you're basically at 6 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If we would basically be giving up 30% of that revenue. And for that 30% of the revenue, we would have coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our employees would still be here, our equipment at that, but we would be sharing the employees. So it's the next evolution. I mean, to all of you out in the audience, you know, what we did tonight with the police contract was the fact that we were trying to maintain staff. What we've done in other departments is maintain staff. You know, we're trying to find, if anybody's been here for the past several years, how many times did we raise the salaries for EMS? Constantly trying to bring in staff. It's not a reflection of the department at all. It's not. It's a reflection of the realities of what's going on.
It's the times.
It's the times. Now, you know, there are still departments that are going out of service. Runnemede's done a much better job, but I've heard of other departments going out of service and things like that. So, you know, the state has awarded the Camden County monies to study all this with no obligation, simply to come up with the data that's needed to make intelligent decisions. How many vehicles? Where should they be stationed? Who's paying what? Who's taking advantage of what? You know, some towns are doing better. Right now, I would say that Gloucester Township is doing a better job. But, and I don't want to disparage on other towns, but other towns are not doing as good of a job. And it affects everybody. When one department isn't doing well, it affects all the other departments because of mutual aid. So, we're going to have to make a decision. I bring it up at this meeting because the public should hear what we're talking about. The committee and the council is going to need to make a decision to come up with a solution by May 5th. You know, I think the chief can make it work for a short period of time, but we're going to have to come up with a solution, either to hire an individual or to go into this, expand the shared service we already have. Now, I'm going to tell everybody how I feel, because I'm not here to pull punches with anybody. I think the Borough of Runnemede, we've evolved over the past several years, that the fire service, I think the volunteers are doing a phenomenal job, and I think we need to support them. So I wholeheartedly want to give the volunteers money to come in and continue to do that. EMS has been on a downward trend since 2019. The revenue is down, the expenses are up, providing the service is difficult, all this stuff is difficult. If we can focus on fire and support them, I think some of the unintended consequences of some of these things we're doing, I think the volunteers are much happier to have that pretty much they have the firehouse to themselves. I think we have to continue to support them to get that firehouse at the highest standards that they can be. I think they've done a great job with the grants, getting it there. Now, it doesn't preclude the fact that if we get money from the federal government that we couldn't support this again. Remember, this is just a shared labor cost. There's nothing to say that if Runnemede has more labor, you're going to need bodies to do this job. The problem that all these communities are having is, I think they have enough equipment, they just don't have enough bodies to staff it. I think that's the problem everywhere. So having, I believe, full-time employees is the way to go. The question is, where are those full-time employees housed and where are they located? Where do they work? Where do they go? I mean, in a perfect world, you would put the employees where they're needed. And that's, I think, what the beginning of this agreement does, is it shows where you need the employees and you put them there. Runnemede has a better building than our neighbor. Runnemede has better equipment than our neighbors. But we don't necessarily have enough staff to get it done. And unless we want to go full tilt, but then that would mean we would need to expand our service and do for other towns. Somehow, because of the circumstances that happened last summer, we've, instead of being on the giving end, which I know, John, you like to be, we're on the receiving end. And I still think that our goal should be not about our little fiefdom, that this is our little sandbox. Our goal should be providing the services to our residents, so that when someone dials 911, that an ambulance shows up, regardless of what color it is. If it's red or white or blue, as long as it shows up, I think is important. Doesn't matter if it's a Runnemede employee or another employee, as long as it shows up. That's what we have to get past. I know nobody likes this word. Everyone wants 565 municipalities, and 565 police departments, and 565 of everything. We've been sharing trash for going on 12 years. We have saved over $1 million, and the service is better because that's all they do. They focus on it. And so I think that's where each community, each municipality, if they can bring something to the table, that's how we're going to get it done. Does anybody have any? Please talk, because the public's out there, and I don't want to blindside people. I want them to hear it, and they can voice their opinions. What's everyone's thoughts?
I'm new to the ballgame. I don't have any, I'll have to study.
I would say with the increased costs of inflation and everything else, volunteerism is a different thing. People's time is very valuable, and that's why I seem it's hard to get people engaged in things, because their time's valuable, and stipends and things along that nature have to happen in order to have more options and more capacity to fill the holes. I also think that the surrounding communities and shared services is the future, and I think it helps each municipality's overhead, it reduces it, and gives you more options, and it has to happen. I don't think we need to be the do-all in-house community. I don't think it pays to do that. I think that it's evolved past that. That's the way we're headed, right?
Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah.
Bob?
Yeah, I think years ago, he wanted to hang places, like in the fire company, all the old guys would hang, and it was a fun place, but I think people's lives have got so hectic that they can't do that anymore with, families. Times have changed, and I think, like you said, John, people want to be paid for their time. It's valuable.
Yeah. No, and we have a volunteer company that's strong compared to a lot of our neighboring communities. They don't have the group, and if anything, the chief's made it clear to me that we've even attracted people from other communities that want to come to Runnemede and be part of it. So obviously, it's something that's going on down there that's positive. The EMS is another animal. The EMS has always been, well, it hasn't always, but these past four years has been extremely difficult. We're competing with towns that don't provide the service at all. We're competing with hospitals that provide the service and hard bill. There's this evolution that's going on. We're competing with these nonprofits. And up North Jersey, you still have volunteerism, which is amazing. They have people that volunteer.
Population.
More population density. So, and then the cost of the equipment is outrageous nowadays. And doing that, and I think the other thing that made it difficult for these EMS was the training that they're required to have, made it much more difficult for them to do it. So I think that you know, Shelley's been, you know, her job is to always look at the financial side, but it is the council's decision on, you know, it's not always about money, and it can't just be about money. It has to be about the services and all this kind of stuff. So this is more, to me, what we did before. It's about service, whatever we have to do to provide the service. So I think the committee, you know, Ms. Kelly, I talked to her a lot about this today. She understands that we have to keep trying to make things work so that we provide the services. So we're going to keep talking. So I would hope that this committee speaks. But we do have a backstop of this gentleman leaving, and we're going to have to do something and make a decision. Okay. We'll continue with the meeting. You didn't really say anything.
No, I'm listening. Of course, you know how I feel about shared services. I'm not going to argue on that one.
Okay. Well, some are good and some are bad.
Well, for me, it worked out.
You know, well, you know, but it is important that we understand what we're getting involved in.
Stipend, I think is,
You don't like the idea?
Yeah,
You like
I
the
do.
idea of giving volunteers?
yeah,
I
absolutely.
wouldn't call it a stipend. I would call
Well,
it
let's give it a word.
it's
An incentive.
an incentive. It's
Everybody
it's
wants,
recognizing.
everyone needs an
It's
incentive to want
it's
to do
reward. You
something.
know, it's an attaboy. It's to be nice and thank them for what they're doing for the town. Okay. So now we have to pay the bills, and then we'll go to the public portion in the closed session. So would someone like to make a motion to pay the monthly bill?
I'll make the motion to pay the monthly bills.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly's absent. Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sapiro?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right, the bill should be paid. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come to the microphone. Take the microphone out of the holder and give us your name and address. We're Americans. We like a little separation, that's fine.
Okay. Kathy Walker,
No, it's
a
not.
big timeout, just hold it in.
Municipality.
Yeah.
What's that?
Municipality.
The green.
Oh, you're a municipality of residents. That's all you have to get.
You have to hold it until kind of green, and it should stay on. They were working
You
on
have to hold it for a second.
On trade? There you go. This is on.
Hello? Okay, better. So Kathy Walker, 145 East 3rd Avenue.
Only the municipality. They changed the law.
Oh, I don't have to say my address anymore?
Just the town of the municipality.
I'm from Runnemede.
There you go.
For 30 years.
Privacy.
Two things. So I want to confirm that we are going to have a ribbon cutting for Allstate, Jennifer Ward, on May 5th. I want to make sure it works for everyone before.
You know, I apologize. I didn't respond. I didn't see anybody else, but I didn't make it. Patty, did you respond?
It's a
Yeah, I wanted
Friday.
to know what it
Cinco
was.
de Mayo.
It's a carousel.
It's next to Carousel.
Next to carousel.
She moved by the DMV, correct? By Carousel.
Carousel.
1 PM, right?
1 p.m.
She was my old tenant.
Oh, yes, she said. Yep. Now she's in your.
I asked her to join the chamber and to,
She said Nick found
I think it's
something.
possible. So it was 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
What's that?
All right, so we're good. You will bring the scissors, I will bring the ribbon. We've gotten our
Scissors are on top of the mailbox.
Nice,
We don't need to be chasing ribbons all over the place, I got that.
That was a fun time.
That was a fun time. And then just an update, so the Community Design Collaborative Project kicked off today. The architects came and met with the businesses, and we did a walk through town. So it's starting. So there's going to be questions about ordinances. I started talking to Bernie about that, awnings, other things that will be coming. Signs, yeah, all that stuff.
You have to check too with the DOT, I would believe.
Microspike can be
Because that-
difficult.
Yeah, they can be, and they can be very difficult. So,
Yeah, and so that's really where I'm,
you know, so many feet in, so many feet out.
because the question was, like, what is the width of the highway?
So that doesn't matter. What matters is, and this isn't to everybody, is your survey. So anybody who purchases a property should, they're not required to, but gets a survey. So in some properties, the the building is on the line. So as soon as they step out onto the sidewalk, they're not on their property anymore. They're in the right of way, they're in the street area. That's why projecting awnings
Or
are,
planters.
because now they're not on the property anymore. Think about that. Your home sits back into grass, and then you have all that area before the sidewalk. But on the Black Horse Pike, many of those buildings are on the property line. That's why surveys are so important.
So that's
Yeah, I mean,
exactly
I am really foggy on this, part of it, because I've never dealt with this, and I know there are so many different, with the DOT and then the borough, so Bernie's gonna help me, I'm sure I'm gonna have some questions for you, and
You can't put something on your property you don't own, so think about that.
yes, so if we, so even if, so let's say an awning, okay, let's take Marinos. for
No, you
example.
can't.
So let's take Marinos for example, right, because they're right on the property line.
Right.
So if we were to do a higher awning, would that matter?
No, the plane goes up into space. That line goes all the way up, so you can't go into that line.
Okay.
Now, planters and benches,
Well, that would-
that's where we could work possibly together. There are some, he's frowning a little bit.
They're movable, right?
No, there's accessibility issues. You have to have a, what's it called, it's a lane,
Accessible path.
it's an accessible path. So you could put necessarily a potted plant out there, you could put a bench out there, you could put small portable signs out there, but you still have to have the accessible path. That's where the ordinance comes in. Now, once again, why do we do this? We're protecting people, we're protecting the paths, the people going through, and we don't want anybody to be sued because they tripped in this accessible
And
path.
throwing potted plant.
But if you go in other municipalities, they do allow people to put chairs and tables somewhat on sidewalks, but then there's also rules for those also. The accessible path and things like that,
Right.
Certain times.
certain times of day.
So if we were just to take St. Marino's for an example, so they're on first, so could they put on first some chairs and tables?
Once again, get the survey.
Yeah.
Because what the survey does is it shows where their property is.
Most
We've had the
likely.
building for a really long time.
And that's difficult.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
everything starts with the survey.
Okay, so I just need to get 6 surveys.
And there would be more flexibility at first.
Probably with the title.
Did you hear what the engineer
I
said?
did.
First Avenue is ours, where the Black Horse Pike is the state of New Jersey.
Okay, so then the grass, right, so there's the sidewalk and then, I know you're gonna tell me to get the survey. I will get the survey. I'm just curious about pottery, pot plants.
These are things we need to discuss.
And trees, because there's a lot of trees and how we're gonna handle the tree situation, so there's gonna be a lot of things that come out of this.
Yes.
With the program just beginning, would it pay to get it somebody from the, is it state?
Those gentlemen would know, and ladies, whoever is involved in the design knows all that.
And they probably know.
They have to know it, because if they don't know it,
Yeah.
they didn't get their little initials at the end of their name, they would know that they have to have this path. They would know about setbacks. They would know about all these different things.
County and state. is
They know about approvals and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, they did ask me to get the highway, so, okay, I'm gonna go to the surveys, and we'll start there.
See, the reason they went the width of the highway is because that's easier for them to get in the surveys. If they know the right of way is 75 feet, they already know that it's hitting the buildings.
Right, but you're saying that's not a good way to do it, the survey is a better way. to do it.
Survey's better for the individual, but for these design people, if they want to know that the Black Horse Pike is in a 75-foot right-of-way, they're going to measure from the center of the road, 35 and 37 and a half feet, and then they're going to know that they're hitting the buildings. To give an example, from my own personal experience, I had a sign in front of my building. It got hit by a car. I was not allowed to put it back up because it's not my property. But in the past, Glendora Auto Parts put a sign up on land that wasn't theirs. But now we enforce these things. We want people to build on their own property. Now, could you put the potter? Yes, if you follow these other rules.
So, and that's where do I get all the other rules? So I think that's one of the.
They're professionals, are they
So
not?
they're gonna give me the, all the rules. Okay.
He's the professional. So, I know you wanna move this all along,
I
but
want to make it streamlined, and I don't want to get us to the point where we have this awesome design, and then it's like, well,
But they can't, if they're doing an awesome design and they don't know the rules, it's not a good person to do that.
Okay, I mean,
It's
so
not about
I'm
design.
not being the person who does, I don't know what they should know, so I'm gonna go off of they should know.
I'm a sign guy. I look up the
You
ordinances
also want to know.
every
they
town
ask you-
before I design the sign.
And they ask you to do something, like, why am I doing this? You want to know what your limits are, where they end and you begin.
I know you're trying to facilitate it, but we hire lawyers and engineers to protect us.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Please.
No.
My neighbor.
I didn't recognize you. Yeah. It's nice.
Hey, Lynn.
Linda Hurd, I live in Runnemede. All of you who know me know that I'm a nature lover, birds, bees, trees,
Butterflies.
absolutely butterflies.
I need my butterfly plants.
I haven't, I wasn't there anything.
Thank you.
I hear the concern. We live in a little town, we don't have a lot of open land, 3 acres, and have the land behind the Metropolitan. I understand that's going to be built on. I happened to go over to Hershey last week, and truly I'm appalled to see what's going on with that space there. People have dump trucks of concrete and construction debris and concrete monstrosities that I saw from the sign, RC crawlers, don't step on our obstacle courses. I'm wondering, is this being allowed to happen? Somebody giving these people permission? It looks like illegal dumping to me. Why is this going on? It's an embarrassment. If I were to take my grandkids over there, I would be embarrassed. I used to take my students there to clean up. And now, I mean, there's huge piles of pieces of concrete. Who knows what's in it? Could be running into the waterway. There's dangers on every level. And I just want to know who is condoning this and what's going to be done. Is it
So we're going to discuss it this evening.
Well, that's good. Because I look at it and I think it's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars for Runnemede to clean it up. And I can't imagine somebody's going to be held accountable for this. When people in Runnemede find out about it, I think that they're going to be angry at certain people for allowing it to happen.
I think they've been back there for a long time, haven't they?
No,
I just discovered it.
I appreciate that you're concerned. I think it's something that's going to be discussed this evening.
Very concerned. And what I'm hoping is, I know how to get, well, maybe you don't know, but I know how to get attention. When I taught with my kids in the COSS program, we had a STAND program, Students Take Action in Nature's Defense. We went against the plastic bag industry. We were before our time. And somebody like me is going to be starting to call the news outlets and saying, look, come and take a look at this. You need to get this taken care of.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
I appreciate your concern.
Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Lobenstein, second by Mr. Passio. All in favor?
Aye.
The public portion is closed. So at this time, we're going to go into closed session. We're going to stay here. We're just going to ask all of you to go because we will not take action after.
Mayor, you have to say, you got to do a resolution to go into closed session, and it's for a matter falling under the attorney-client privilege.
And we have to tell how long it's going to be.
Approximately 20 minutes.
We need a motion to go in private?
20 to 30 minutes.
I'll make a motion to go in
All right,
private.
so it'll be
Closed executive.
23:55, closed session.
I'll make a motion to go in closed.
Hearing to go into closed. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shapiro. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll be going into closed session.